Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Anthropological. This time we'll be taking a look at Batman Arkham Asylum. And because I don't know anywhere near as much about Batman as she does, we are joined by the lovely Fat Princess Lil tonight.
Hello!
As we play the game, like last time, we'll be going through, playing the game, and explaining all the little things you might not know about the game. Mostly Lil, for that matter, because like I said, I know a little bit about Batman. Nowhere near as much as she does. She is the resident expert on the guy.
I will possibly get things wrong because there are, oh my god, we're close to a century now of comics to work from, but hopefully we'll teach you some stuff and you can correct me in the comments.
Please be nice. And on that note, let's get going.
You know, I forget who it was that said that Gotham is New York City at night and Metropolis is New York City during the day. I don't entirely buy into that. I think that Metropolis is way more Chicago.
We've actually debated this on several times, haven't we? I generally think of Gotham as being kind of just shittier version of all cities combined. Like, there's no equivalent real-world city.
Gotham is every really crime-riddled city. It's kind of unsafe, not salvageable.
Well, yeah, obviously, but my point's more, it's like people from New York always claim they're from Gotham or something like that, and that always drove me up the wall.
Well, yeah, I don't know where the concept of New York as Gotham came from. I think, although to be fair, New York in the 70s is terrifying.
Right. Hey, Sharpie. Love what you've done with the place.
That's Warden Shop to you. Bowles!
Yo, Frankie, how's the wife and kids? You miss me?
Shut it, clown!
A lot of people here really want to talk to you.
Really? I don't mind walking. Ugh. Not so tight, boys. You'll crease the suit.
Get that filthy degenerate out of here.
Warden, something's not right. I'm going with him.
Okay, so Arkham here's depicted as fairly, what's the right word, high-tech and almost prison-like. Is this a common representation of the comics? I got the impression this was a pretty prison-y version, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, compared to what the comics normally is. Like, part of the reason the comics they're always escaping is it's an asylum, not actually a prison.
Well, I think the idea is supposed to be it's supermax mental facility. I mean, it's the same way that you treat a state hospital that had serial killers in it. People that get incarcerated for their own safety are still very, very dangerous. I do think that the way that they designed this particular Arkham is very heavily influenced on that, like, Resident Evil, Hannibal Lecter, plastic cell kind of situation.
Okay, so but compared to the comics, there still is more, not a militaristic presence, but a more physical, restraining presence than there normally is in the traditional Arkham.
Well, the traditional Arkham in the books is just, it is as secure as it needs to be for security purposes, and I think the first thing we should talk about is actually the thing about Joker. And the reason, especially Mark Hamill's version, is so brilliant. Oh, Bad Snacks!
Bad Snacks.
Is that Joker is the modern conception of Joker is an agent is an agent of chaos. He is a manifestation of cynicism. His belief is that if you push anybody far enough, they're going to turn into him. That's sort of what Killing Joke proved to us.
What's up, Doc?
So not turn this into a debate about the Killing Joke. Are you in the view that at the end of Killing Joke, Batman kills the Joker?
I think it's a perfectly good theory. I'm forced to consider it canon because otherwise, how do we get Barbara Gordon into the chair as Oracle?
That makes sense, and I think I've read a bunch of times that, what's his name, the original writer, what was that, Miller? Whoever wrote The Killing Joke has come out and said it's not him killing the Joker at the end, it's just him beating the crap out of him as always, which goes against a bunch of people's fan theories, but if the writer says it's so, it's kind of hard to argue with the writer in my book.
Well, I think it's important to remember that people are sort of frustrated in some ways by Batman's refusal to kill. And I think what's funny is that what people seem to know about Batman, right, is he doesn't like guns.
He suffered minor lacerations.
And he doesn't like killing. He will beat the crap out of you. Just
Take my temperature?
destroy
I'd be
you.
happy to drop my pants.
Okay, so I have to say something about sexual Joker, because the other main Arkham narrative that I think is really important to remember here is Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum, Mysterious House on Serious Earth, because Morrison's Batman is kind of the weirdest thing you've ever seen. He is just incredibly sexually stymied, just incredibly sexually frustrated. And
Must have been one of the guards then. Croco boy.
aw, he's saying hi to his friends.
Does Joker and Croc actually have an ongoing friendship, or is this just a convenience for the game? Like, occasionally it feels like there's a concept of everyone that's Batman's enemy is kind of friends at the end of the day because they all have this linking thread between each other.
Oh, of course. That's the Rogues Gallery in general, is the idea that Batman is ultimately the biggest. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Sure.
That said, it's always fun to watch. Oh no. I forgot how bad the facial animation is for Croc in the first game.
It's not great.
It's not great.
A toy collar won't stop me from killing
But
you.
whenever villains, especially villains from sort of different, DC cities try and team up, it always gets really fun. Like Joker and Lex is one of my favorite team ups because
That was in the cartoon series, right? Is that a comic book event as well? Is that just
it
cartoons?
happens. I mean, anytime you do like a major crossover event, you usually end up with the villains teaming up the same way that the heroes do.
Sure.
And the best thing is that like Joker and Lex are basically exact opposites. Lex is,
Not where you're going.
authoritarian evil, he's lawful good, he's lawful evil.
He almost
and
makes
Joker
sense.
is chaotic evil.
Oh yeah, and in Lex's defense, he almost kind of makes sense. He's trying, in his very own messed up mind, to defend the world from an alien invader in some weird ways.
Oh, Frankie.
That and he's
Really
just hates
should
Batman,
learn
Superman
to
for being
keep that
Superman.
fat
Yeah, I mean, and I think the argument that they make in Red Sun for Lex
Tell me something.
is that
You'd never let me catch you this easily.
humanity
What are you
doesn't.
really after?
With Superman in play, humanity doesn't advance at the rate that they should because they have Superman to save them. Which is kind of the libertarian argument for Lex.
Was that the answer you wanted?
But I think the thing about Joker in particular is that his whole purpose is to, speak truth to power. He is the fool, and Lex is the king.
What's he doing?
Uh-oh.
Stay where you are. Get a flashlight. Get a light on him.
Batman knows how to handle this situation.
What? Don't you trust me?
Our guest has arrived.
I will say this from a narrative technique. While this opening is a great introduction to the kind of character and feel of the game, it goes on a little bit too long for my taste.
Three of my crew, you
busted.
Well, see,
out.
one of my favorite
Only three?
things about Rocksteady
I'll
games
be
in
sure to
general
try harder
is
next
all of
time.
the
What
extra
say we aim
dialogue.
for 100?
Oh, yeah,
And
sure.
if you stand still long enough, you get such an immersive experience.
That's true.
It is my favorite character in the whole Bat universe.
Long night, Jim.
Joker invades City Hall and holds the mayor hostage, leaving it to me to juggle SWAT teams, the media, and you. Yeah, it's been a hell of a night.
Hopefully the last one we'll ever have with him.
Yeah, right.
Hold it there. Sorry, Batman. Arkham staff only.
I assure you, if anyone's qualified, it's...
Listen, I appreciate the assistance, but he'll unsettle the more violent inmates.
I think he's talking about you, Bats. Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome here. Gotta say, it's good to be back.
You okay?
He surrendered almost without a fight. I don't like it.
At least he's back where he belongs.
Get up! Now!
Joker's loose. Alert the warden.
Hurry, we're leaving him back.
The joke's on you.
Ta-da! Honey, I'm home.
Come on in.
Welcome to the madhouse, Batman. I set a trap, and you sprang it gloriously.
Now let's get this party started.
So now they're going to teach you how to beat up all these inmates that look the same. And I feel it's not really fair of Arkham to not let their inmates have shirts, although I do appreciate it. But I want to go back to Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum for a second because I think wow. I think the thing about Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum that is sort of brilliant is it has a very similar premise. The idea is that Batman comes back from a sort of Justice League mission in space, basically. And it's April Fool's Day, and Commissioner Gordon says, I'm so sorry, Joker took over the asylum and he'll only talk to you. And Batman has one of those rare moments of, I don't want to go in there. And he and Jim have this, very sweet moment where he's like, you don't have to do this, Bats. We can get an actual hostage negotiator because our cops are semi-competent. And Batman confesses that he doesn't want to go in there because he knows that technically he might belong in the asylum.
I'll find a way out. Gordon, try and contact the warden.
The first of many great pullings that you will do in these games.
Oh, yeah.
So many great pullings.
So many greats.
So many greats. Oh, Riddler trophy.
Okay, so a word of warning right now before you all get invested in this. We are not doing Riddler trophies. I don't have the patience for that, and the payoff is never worth it. Ever. But I will give you this nice shot of Riddler being Riddler.
Why didn't you just come find me?
Aw.
I think Riddler trophies are one of the biggest mistakes this franchise made in some ways.
Well, I think that was my biggest problem is that I kind of like the idea of doing a really interesting mini game that is sort of about the obsessiveness that you find in, JRPG players. But that said, the payoff wasn't worth it. I remember finding all of the Riddler trophies in this game, and it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. And I think that's the main problem, too, is that people really struggle. That was some Lego Batman stuff right there. He was like, I got it! And he didn't have it. The Riddler is a really interesting character. Oh. Is that Alfred?
Security breached in level B3. Breached in level B2.
The Riddler can be really interesting and well done. if you let him be a complete and total narcissist. If you write him wrong, he ends up being a less psycho version of the Joker, which is no fun. Like, why would you do that?
Joker's escaped custody. He's running free in Arkham.
Do you need anything? Is my dad still there?
Commissioner Gordon is safe. Joker's not far ahead. I'll stay in contact.
So let's talk about Oracle, otherwise known as Barbara Gordon, Jim Gordon's beautiful redhead daughter. We just talked about the Killing Joke.
Zaz, he's got Mike. He's strapped in the chair. Zaz has totally lost it.
Wait here.
You can't. He'll kill Mike if he sees anyone trying to get close.
He won't see me.
I see anything that looks even a little bit like a bat, and this guard dies.
Okay, so before we get into Barbara Gordon, we talk about Zask, because I actually thought Zask, upon first playing this, was a fictitious character made up for the game. Because I had no real knowledge of Batman's more normal serial killer-y foes, if that made any sense.
Well, a lot of people don't. I mean, because he's much less fun. He's just the Criminal Minds element of Batman. I sort of end up lumping him in with Hush. But his whole deal is that every time he kills somebody, are these guards going to teach you about stealth now?
No.
The thing about Zaz is that every time he kills somebody, he puts a tally mark on his body.
Like a tattoo, or like
like a mutilation.
Okay.
Like a little scratch. So he's from the early 90s. And early 90s era of Batman is, oh yes, the grappling. Yes, the gargoyles. Conveniently, every room in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum has gargoyles. But Zaz was just sort of built as part of the...
Got to get...
You don't have to tell me how to do this game.